Most young people are preparing for a future that no longer exists. They are learning how to fit into systems that are breaking, chasing careers that are disappearing, measuring success by rules that were written for a different world. And that's the problem. 2026 is not coming quietly. It's coming fast, and it doesn't reward those who know the most. It rewards those who adapt the fastest. This speech is not about motivation. It's about survival. It's about relevance. It's about becoming the kind of person the future needs, not just wants. If you stay until the end, you won't just hear what skills matter. You'll understand why these skills decide who wins and who gets left behind. Because the greatest risk in 2026 is not failure, it's being skilled at the wrong things. Before learning any skill, you must answer one question: why do you do what you do? Not what you want to become, not how much money you want to make, not what people expect from you, but why. Because without that answer, every skill you learn becomes disconnected. It becomes effort without meaning, motion without progress, noise without direction. You can be incredibly talented and still feel lost. You can work harder than everyone else and still feel like you are standing still. And this confusion doesn't come from a lack of ability, it comes from a lack of clarity. Clarity of purpose is not something reserved for philosophers, leaders, or people who have figured life out. It is a basic human need. When purpose is missing, even success feels empty. When purpose is clear, even struggle feels meaningful. Purpose is not a luxury you discover after everything is stable. Purpose is the foundation that allows stability to exist in the first place. It is the compass you carry when the map keeps changing. In 2026, the world will not slow down to wait for you to feel ready. Opportunities will appear quickly and disappear just as fast. Careers will evolve. Industries will shift. Expectations will change. In a world like that, talent alone is not enough. Skills alone are not enough. Speed alone is not enough. Direction matters more than speed, because moving fast in the wrong direction only gets you lost faster. When you know your why, decisions become simpler. Not easier, but clearer. You stop chasing everything and start choosing intentionally. You stop saying yes to what looks impressive and start saying yes to what aligns with who you are becoming. Purpose filters distractions. It protects your energy. It gives meaning to discipline. Without purpose, discipline feels like punishment. With purpose, discipline feels like commitment. Young people who know their why learn faster, not because they are smarter, but because their learning has context. They are not memorizing information just to pass tests or impress others. They are learning with intention. Every new skill fits into a larger picture. Every lesson has a place. When learning has meaning, retention improves. Focus sharpens, curiosity grows. The mind stops asking, why do I need this? And starts asking, how can I use this? They also recover quicker. Failure hits everyone. Rejection is unavoidable. Mistakes are guaranteed. The difference is not who falls, it's who gets back up with clarity. When your identity is built around external validation, failure feels personal. It feels like proof that you are not enough. But when your identity is rooted in purpose, failure becomes feedback. It becomes information, not a verdict. You don't quit, because quitting would mean walking away from something bigger than a single moment of discomfort. Purpose acts like emotional shock absorption. It doesn't eliminate pain, but it makes pain survivable. It gives context to struggle. It reminds you that this moment is part of a longer journey. And that reminder is powerful, because most people don't fail due to lack of talent. They fail because they lose meaning. Young people who know their why also lead stronger, even before they have a title. Leadership is not about authority, it's about clarity. People trust those who are grounded. They follow those who are consistent. When you are clear on why you do what you do, your actions align with your words. Your decisions make sense. Your presence feels stable. And in uncertain times, stability is magnetic. Purpose-driven people don't need to dominate conversations. They don't need to prove themselves constantly. They listen better. They communicate with intention. They inspire not by shouting louder, but by standing firmer. In 2026, leadership will not belong to the loudest voice in the room. It will belong to the clearest one. Without purpose, young people often chase skills out of fear. Fear of falling behind, fear of being irrelevant, fear of missing out. They collect certifications, degrees, and experiences, hoping that quantity will eventually turn into confidence. But confidence does not come from accumulation. It comes from alignment. When what you do aligns with why you do it, confidence becomes a byproduct. Purpose also changes how you measure success. Instead of asking, oh, am I ahead of others? You start asking, am I becoming who I'm meant to be? That shift is everything. Comparison loses its power. External pressure fades. You stop living someone else's version of a good life and start building your own. In 2026, the pressure to move fast will be intense. Social media will reward speed. Hustle culture will glorify exhaustion. Everyone will look like they're ahead. And in that environment, clarity of purpose becomes an act of courage. It takes courage to pause and ask why when the world is screaming how. It takes courage to say no to paths that don't align. Even when they promise quick rewards, purpose does not mean you have everything figured out. It does not mean your path will be straight or predictable. It simply means you are oriented. You know what matters. You know what you stand for, and that knowledge becomes your anchor when uncertainty hits. When purpose gives direction, effort stops feeling wasted. Time stops feeling empty. Even slow progress feels meaningful because you know where you're headed. And that is why clarity of purpose is not just the first skill young people must learn in 2026. It is the skill that gives value to every other skill they will ever learn. Information is everywhere. It pours into your life the moment you wake up. Notifications, headlines, opinions, trends, warnings, predictions, all competing for your attention. And yet, despite having more information than any generation before, clarity feels harder to find than ever. That's because information and truth are not the same thing. Information is easy to produce. Truth requires effort, discipline, and courage. In 2026, the gap between the two will only grow wider. The future will not belong to the people who consume the most content. It will belong to those who can pause, question, and think. Those who can hear something without immediately believing it. Those who can disagree without becoming defensive. Those who can sit with uncertainty long enough to understand what actually matters. Critical thinking is no longer an academic skill. It is a survival skill. When you don't question what you hear, you outsource your thinking. You allow someone else's agenda to shape your beliefs. And once your beliefs are shaped by others, your decisions are no longer fully yours. That's why the danger is not misinformation alone. The real danger is passive consumption. Because if you believe everything, you'll be controlled by anything. Fear becomes a tool, outrage becomes a weapon, and confusion becomes a business model. Thinking independently does not mean rejecting everything. It means evaluating everything. It means asking where information comes from, why it exists, and who benefits from you believing it. It means understanding that loud does not mean true, popular does not mean correct, and repeated does not mean proven. In an age of noise, silence, mental silence is a competitive advantage. Fear spreads faster than facts. Always has fear demands immediate reaction. Facts demand patience. And most systems today are designed to keep you reacting, not reflecting. They reward emotional responses, not thoughtful ones. Critical thinking is the ability to slow down in a world that profits from your speed. It is the discipline of choosing understanding over impulse. Separating facts from fear is not easy because fear feels urgent. It feels personal. It feels real in the body before it is ever proven in reality. But critical thinkers learn to notice that feeling without surrendering to it. They ask, what do I know for certain? Before asking, what do I feel? They recognize that feelings are signals, not instructions. In 2026, those who master this distinction will make better decisions in their careers, relationships, finances, and leadership. Critical thinking is often misunderstood as negativity or cynicism. It is not about rejecting hope or doubting everything for the sake of ego. It is about being intentional with your beliefs. It is about respecting truth enough to test it. Optimism without thinking is Nat V. Skepticism without thinking is empty. Critical thinking sits in the middle. It is hopeful but grounded, open but disciplined. When you think critically, you stop asking, is this comforting? And start asking, is this accurate? You stop choosing information that confirms what you already believe and start exploring what challenges you. This is uncomfortable because growth always is. But comfort has never been the path to clarity. In 2026, smart will not mean having the right answers memorized. Answers are everywhere. Search engines can provide them in seconds. Artificial intelligence can generate them instantly. What cannot be automated is judgment. What cannot be outsourced is wisdom. The real skill will be knowing which questions to ask and when to ask them. Questions shape outcomes. A person who asks better questions sees opportunities others miss. They identify risks earlier. They understand systems more deeply. They are harder to manipulate because they don't accept surface-level explanations. They don't need to be the loudest voice in the room. They need to be the most thoughtful one. Critical thinkers are not immune to mistakes. They are simply faster at correcting them. They update their beliefs when new evidence appears. They are not loyal to opinions. They are loyal to truth. This flexibility is not weakness. It is strength. In a rapidly changing world, rigid thinking breaks. Adaptive thinking survives. Noise will increase. Algorithms will become smarter. Content will become more persuasive. The line between reality and narrative will blur even further. In that environment, critical thinking becomes an act of independence. It is how you protect your time, your focus, and your freedom. It is how you decide for yourself instead of being decided for. Those who master this skill will not panic with every headline. They will not chase every trend. They will not be easily divided or distracted. They will move with intention, grounded in understanding rather than reaction. And in 2026, that ability will quietly separate leaders from followers, thinkers from repeaters, and creators of the future from consumers of the present. AI can process data in seconds. Machines can analyze patterns no human could ever track. They can predict trends, optimize systems, and outperform people in speed and efficiency. But there is one thing they cannot do and never truly will. They cannot understand people. They cannot feel uncertainty, sense unspoken tension, or recognize the emotional weight behind a silent pause. And in a world increasingly driven by technology, that limitation becomes the greatest human advantage. Those who master emotions, their own and others, will always be irreplaceable. Not because they are softer, but because they are stronger where it matters most. Emotional intelligence is not about being emotional. It is about being aware. Aware of what you feel, why you feel it, and how those feelings influence your behavior. It is about understanding that every decision you make passes through an emotional filter before it ever becomes logical action. Most conflicts don't start because of logic. They start because of unmanaged emotion. Most opportunities are not lost because of lack of skill, but because of miscommunication, ego, impatience, or fear. Emotional intelligence is the skill that sits beneath all others. It determines how well your knowledge is applied, how your words are received, and how your presence affects the people around you. Listening more than reacting is one of the rarest abilities today. The world trains people to respond instantly, to interrupt, to defend, to prove. But real listening requires restraint. It requires humility. It requires you to be present without preparing your reply while someone else is still speaking. When you truly listen, people feel seen. And when people feel seen, trust forms. Trust is the foundation of influence, leadership, and collaboration. Reacting is easy. It is automatic. Anyone can do it. Responding, on the other hand, is a choice. It creates space between stimulus and action. In that space lies maturity. Responding instead of exploding means you are no longer controlled by the moment. It means you understand that your emotions are valid, but they do not have to be in charge. This skill alone can prevent broken relationships, lost opportunities, and unnecessary regret. Leading with empathy does not mean lowering standards or avoiding accountability. It means understanding context before passing judgment. It means recognizing that everyone carries invisible struggles. Empathy allows you to correct without humiliating, guide without dominating, and challenge without demeaning. Ego demands to be right. Empathy seeks to be effective. In 2026, leadership will look different. Authority will matter less than influence. Titles will matter less than trust. And trust cannot be forced. It must be earned. People follow those who make them feel understood, not those who make them feel small. Emotional intelligence turns leadership from control into connection. Managing your own emotions is where it begins. Many people are driven by feelings they don't understand. Anger that hides fear. Perfectionism that hides insecurity. Overworking that hides avoidance. When you are unaware of your emotional patterns, they quietly run your life. You repeat the same mistakes, react the same way, and wonder why nothing changes. Awareness interrupts that cycle. Emotional intelligence allows you to notice your internal state before it spills into your behavior. You learn when to pause, when to speak, and when to step back. You stop taking everything personally. You stop needing constant validation. You become steadier. And in uncertain times, steadiness is rare and valuable. Understanding others' emotions requires curiosity, not assumption. It means reading between the lines. It means paying attention to tone, body language, and what is not being said. It means recognizing that logic alone does not move people, emotion does. Decisions are emotional first, rational second. Those who understand this communicate more effectively, negotiate better, and resolve conflict faster. The future rewards humans who act like humans, not like machines pretending to be efficient at the cost of connection. In a digital world, emotional intelligence becomes a differentiator. While technology accelerates processes, emotional intelligence deepens relationships. While systems scale operations, emotional intelligence scales trust. People with high emotional intelligence don't avoid hard conversations, they handle them better. They don't suppress emotion, they channel it. They don't deny conflict, they navigate it. They understand that strength is not the absence of emotion, but the ability to use it wisely. As automation increases, the value of purely technical skills will eventually decline. But the value of emotional intelligence will rise. Because collaboration, creativity, leadership, and ethical decision-making all require emotional awareness. Machines can assist, they can advise, they can calculate, but they cannot care. In 2026, the most successful individuals will not be those who know the most, but those who connect the best, those who build psychological safety, those who create environments where people feel respected, heard, and motivated. Emotional intelligence is the real superpower because it amplifies every other skill you possess. When you master your emotions, you gain freedom. Freedom from impulsive reactions, freedom from unnecessary conflict, freedom to choose how you show up even under pressure, and that freedom makes you not only effective, but irreplaceable. If you cannot explain your ideas don't exist. They may feel powerful in your mind. They may seem obvious to you, but until they are communicated clearly, they have no impact. Ideas only become real when they move from your thoughts into someone else's understanding. And in 2026, the ability to do that will matter more than ever. The world is not short on ideas. It is short on clarity. Everyone is speaking, few are being understood. Noise has replaced meaning, volume has replaced value. In this environment, influence does not belong to the loudest voice in the room, it belongs to the clearest one. Because clarity builds trust, and trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship, opportunity, and leadership role. Your voice is your currency. Every time you speak, write, or present, you are spending it. You can spend it carelessly, confusing people, over-explaining, or speaking without intention. Or you can spend it wisely, choosing words that align with your message and your values. In 2026, people will not follow those who talk the most. They will follow those who make sense. Clarity is power because it reduces friction. When people understand you, decisions happen faster. Alignment forms quicker. Misunderstandings shrink. Conflicts decrease. Clarity saves time, energy, and trust. And trust, once broken, is expensive to rebuild. That is why communication is not just a soft skill. It is a strategic one. Many young people believe communication is about confidence or charisma. It is not. It is about intention and structure. Confidence without clarity feels like noise. Charisma without substance fades quickly. Real communication begins with understanding what you want to say and why it matters to the person listening. Influence is not about impressing others. It is about serving them with understanding. Whether you speak to one person or a million, the principles remain the same. People want to know that you understand them before they try to understand you. When communication becomes one-sided, trust disappears. When it becomes a dialogue, connection forms. The best communicators are not performers. They are translators. They translate complex ideas into simple language. They translate emotion into meaning. They translate intention into action. In 2026, attention will be the most limited resource. People will not give you time just because you ask for it. You will earn it by being clear, relevant, and respectful of their focus. Rambling will be punished. Overcomplication will be ignored. Simplicity will win, not because ideas are simple, but because clarity requires discipline. Speaking clearly requires thinking clearly. Many communication problems are actually thinking problems. When your thoughts are scattered, your words will be too. When your purpose is unclear, your message will wander. That is why communication is deeply connected to self-awareness. The clearer you are internally, the clearer you sound externally. The most influential communicators do not rush to speak. They pause, they organize their thoughts, they choose their words intentionally. They understand that silence can be as powerful as sound. They don't fill every gap with noise. They allow space for understanding to form. Young people who master communication in 2026 will stand out not because they dominate conversations, but because they elevate them. They ask thoughtful questions. They listen actively. They respond with relevance. They make others feel heard. And when people feel heard, they listen. Communication is also how credibility is built. You may be skilled, intelligent, and capable, but if you cannot communicate that effectively, your value remains invisible. Opportunities often go to those who can articulate their ideas clearly, not just those who have them. This is not unfair, it is practical. Clarity reduces risk. People trust what they understand. Speaking clearer does not mean speaking more. It means knowing what to leave out. It means respecting your audience enough to be concise. It means understanding that every extra word is a cost. The goal is not to say everything you know, but to say what matters. In a digital world, communication extends beyond spoken words. It includes emails, messages, presentations, videos, and posts. Each one shapes how you are perceived. Each one either builds trust or erodes it. Intentional communication is consistent across all platforms. It sounds like you. It reflects your values. It reinforces your purpose. As technology accelerates, human connection becomes more valuable. Communication is the bridge between the two. It turns ideas into act. It turns vision into shared belief. It turns individuals into teams. In 2026, those who speak with clarity will move people not by force, not by volume, but by understanding. Knowing how to use technology is no longer special, it is expected. Tapping screens, navigating apps, and learning new platforms have become basic skills, not advantages. The real difference in 2026 will not be who knows the most tools, but who understands how those tools shape behavior, especially their own. Digital intelligence is not about devices. It is about discipline, awareness, and intention in a world designed to distract. Technology does not simply respond to human behavior, it actively influences it. Every notification, recommendation, and infinite scroll is designed with one goal in mind: to keep your attention. Attention is the product. Time is the currency, and if you do not consciously decide how you spend it, someone else will decide for you. This is why knowing how to use technology is not enough. You must know how it uses you. Using technology without becoming addicted to it requires awareness of patterns. Many people reach for their phones not because they need information, but because they are uncomfortable with silence, boredom, or uncertainty. Technology becomes an emotional crutch. It fills gaps without solving the deeper problem. Digital intelligence begins when you notice these habits without judgment and choose differently. Addiction is not always dramatic. Often, it looks like constant checking, like switching tasks without finishing, like needing stimulation to focus. Over time, this erodes deep thinking, patience, and presence. In 2026, the ability to focus deeply will be rare and therefore valuable. Those who protect their attention will outperform those who constantly divide it. Creating value instead of consuming endlessly is another core element of digital intelligence. Most platforms are built to encourage consumption. Scroll more, watch more, click more. But consumption alone builds nothing. It creates the illusion of productivity while quietly draining energy and creativity. Digital intelligence asks a different question: am I using this tool to build, or am I just passing time? Creating value does not require massive platforms or large audiences. It starts with intention, writing instead of scrolling, learning with purpose instead of jumping from topic to topic, sharing insights instead of reacting to every trend. When technology becomes a tool for creation, it amplifies your voice. When it becomes a tool for distraction, it diminishes it. Understanding algorithms without being controlled by them is one of the most important skills of the future. Algorithms are not neutral. They are designed to predict and shape behavior based on past actions. They show you more of what keeps you engaged, not more of what helps you grow. If you are unaware of this, your worldview slowly narrows, your opinions harden, your curiosity shrinks. Digital intelligence allows you to step back and ask why you are seeing what you are seeing. It reminds you that what appears on your screen is a selection, not reality. It encourages you to seek diverse perspectives, not just comfortable ones. In 2026, independent thinking will require intentional exposure, not passive consumption. Those who control their digital habits will control their future because habits compound. Minutes turn into hours. Hours turn into years. The way you use technology today shapes your ability to learn, focus, and connect tomorrow. Small choices repeated daily determine whether technology becomes a lever for growth or a weight that holds you down. Digital intelligence also affects relationships. Presence is a form of respect. When your attention is divided, connection weakens. When devices dominate conversations, empathy erodes. In a hyper-connected world, being fully present with another human becomes rare and powerful. People remember how you made them feel, and nothing makes someone feel insignificant faster than competing with a screen. In work and leadership, digital intelligence determines effectiveness. Multitasking feels productive but often reduces quality. Constant availability creates burnout, not value. Those who set boundaries around technology protect their energy and make better decisions. They respond thoughtfully instead of reacting instantly. They use speed strategically, not compulsively. Technology will continue to advance, tools will become smarter, systems will become faster, but wisdom will remain human. Digital intelligence is the ability to use powerful tools without losing yourself in them. It is the ability to stay human in a digital world, to think deeply while everything pushes you to skim, to choose meaning over metrics. In 2026, success will not belong to those who are always online. It will belong to those who are intentional online, those who design their digital lives instead of drifting through them. Because when you control your digital habits, you don't just manage your time, you protect your future. The job you want today may not exist tomorrow. The path you are preparing for may disappear without warning. The plan you trust, the one that feels safe and familiar, may fail despite your best efforts, and that reality can feel unsettling unless you understand one crucial truth. This is not a flaw in the system. This is the system. Change is no longer the exception. It is the environment. And in that environment, adaptability is not optional. It is essential. Adaptability is often misunderstood as instability, as a lack of commitment, or as constantly starting over. In reality, adaptability is strength. It is the ability to remain grounded while everything around you shifts. It is the capacity to learn, unlearn, and relearn without losing your sense of identity. When you are adaptable, change does not threaten you. It challenges you. Those who survive change do not resist it. Resistance consumes energy. It keeps you attached to what was instead of preparing you for what is coming. Learning, on the other hand, transforms change into fuel. Adaptable people ask different questions. They ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? That single shift turns disruption into development. In 2026, rigidity will be expensive. The world will reward flexibility, curiosity, and responsiveness. Technology will evolve. Markets will shift. Skills will expire faster than ever. The people who struggle the most will not be those who lack talent, but those who cling to outdated methods because they once worked. The most dangerous sentence in this new world is not, I don't know. It is, this is how it's always been done. That sentence signals the end of growth. It closes the door to innovation. It prioritizes comfort over progress, and comfort has never been a reliable strategy for the future. Adaptability requires humility, the humility to admit that what got you here may not get you there. That truth can be uncomfortable, but it is also freeing. Adaptable people do not tie their identity to a single role, title, or outcome. They tie it to their ability to learn. When one door closes, they do not panic because their sense of worth is not locked behind it. They understand that their value is not in what they do, but in how they think. This mindset allows them to pivot without losing confidence. Failure looks different through the lens of adaptability. It is not a dead end. It is data. It provides information about what works, what doesn't, and what needs adjustment. When you are adaptable, you stop seeing failure as proof of inadequacy and start seeing it as part of the process. This makes you more resilient, not because you avoid setbacks, but because you recover faster. Adaptability also changes how you approach planning. Plans become flexible frameworks rather than rigid blueprints. You move forward with intention, but you remain open to adjustment. This balance is critical. Without planning, you drift. Without adaptability, you break. In 2026, those who thrive will be those who can do both. Learning from change requires curiosity. It requires you to observe what is happening without immediate judgment, to notice patterns, to ask why things are shifting, not just how to stop them. Curiosity keeps you relevant. It keeps your skills updated and your perspective fresh. People who stay curious stay employable, valuable, and engaged. Adaptability also strengthens leadership. Leaders who adapt create environments where experimentation is safe, where feedback is valued, where change is met with problem solving instead of blame. These leaders don't pretend to have all the answers. They create space for better questions, and in uncertain times, that kind of leadership builds trust. On a personal level, adaptability protects your mental health. When you expect change, you are less shocked by it. When you anticipate uncertainty, you are less overwhelmed. You stop measuring your life by how closely it follows a plan and start measuring it by how well you respond to reality. This shift reduces anxiety and increases confidence. Adaptability does not mean abandoning your values. It means expressing them in new ways. Values remain constant. Methods evolve. When you understand this, change no longer feels like betrayal. It feels like growth. You stay rooted in who you are while remaining flexible in how you move forward. In 2026, the future will not belong to the strongest, the fastest, or the most experienced. It will belong to the most adaptable. Those who learn from change instead of fighting it. Those who update their thinking as the world updates itself. Because when everything else becomes uncertain, the ability to adapt becomes the one skill that outlives all others. Motivation fades. It always does. It comes in waves, often triggered by emotion, inspiration, or external validation. It feels powerful in the moment, but it is unreliable by nature. Discipline, on the other hand, stays. It does not depend on mood. It does not wait for excitement. It shows up quietly, consistently, and without drama. And in 2026, that quiet consistency will matter more than ever. The future does not belong to the most motivated people. It belongs to those who act even when motivation is absent. Because motivation is a feeling and feelings change. Discipline is a decision and decisions compound. When you rely on motivation, progress becomes optional. When you rely on discipline, progress becomes inevitable. Showing up without applause is one of the hardest disciplines to master. Most people want their effort to be seen. They want recognition early. They want reassurance that what they are doing matters. But real growth often happens in silence. It happens when no one is watching, when there are no likes, no praise, no external reward. Discipline is the willingness to continue anyway. Working without immediate reward requires patience, something increasingly rare in a world of instant feedback. In 2026, systems will continue to reward quick results, but meaningful outcomes will still take time. Skills take time. Trust takes time. Mastery takes time. Discipline allows you to invest in outcomes you cannot yet see. It is faith expressed through action. Staying consistent when excitement disappears is the true test. Anyone can start when energy is high. Anyone can commit when the vision feels fresh. But when routine sets in, when progress feels slow, when the novelty wears off, that is when discipline separates those who finish from those who quit. Discipline is not glamorous. It is repetitive, it is boring, and that is why it works. Discipline is self-respect in action. It is the way you keep promises to yourself. Every time you do what you said you would do, even when it's uncomfortable, you reinforce trust in yourself. Over time, that trust becomes confidence. Not the loud kind, but the quiet, unshakable kind, the kind that doesn't need validation to exist. In 2026, talent will still get attention. It always has. Talent is visible. It impresses excitement. But attention is not the same as results. Results come from consistency, from repetition, from refining skills over time. Discipline turns talent into something useful. Without discipline, talent remains potential, interesting, but unreliable. Many people confuse discipline with punishment. They see it as restriction, as limitation, as forcing yourself to do things you don't enjoy. In reality, discipline is freedom. It frees you from the chaos of inconsistency. It frees you from relying on moods. It frees you from regret. Discipline allows you to design your life instead of reacting to it. Discipline also simplifies decision-making. When habits are established, you don't negotiate with yourself every day. You don't waste energy deciding whether or not to act. The decision has already been made. You act because that is who you are. This reduces mental fatigue and increases follow-through. In a fast-moving world, this simplicity becomes a competitive advantage. Those who develop discipline understand that progress is rarely dramatic. It is usually incremental. Small actions repeated daily produce massive results over time. Skipping once feels harmless. Skipping repeatedly becomes a pattern. Discipline interrupts that pattern before it becomes identity. It keeps you aligned with your long-term goals when short-term comfort tries to pull you away. Discipline also builds resilience. When life becomes unpredictable, disciplined people have structure to fall back on. They don't collapse under pressure because their habits carry them forward. They don't need perfect conditions to function. They create momentum through routine, even in uncertainty. In 2026, the world will continue to reward speed, visibility, and novelty. But beneath that surface, the real winners will be those who can sustain effort over time. Those who don't burn out because they pace themselves. Those who don't quit because they've learned to work without constant excitement. Discipline does not mean ignoring rest or emotion. It means honoring what matters most even when it's uncomfortable. It means choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. It means doing the work today that your future self will thank you for tomorrow. When motivation fades, discipline remains. And when discipline remains, results eventually follow. Not immediately, not loudly, but inevitably, no one succeeds alone. Not now, not ever. Every achievement that looks individual is supported by unseen relationships, mentors who guided, friends who encouraged, partners who believed, and communities that provided opportunity. The idea of self-made success is comforting, but it is incomplete. Progress is always a collective effort, and in the future, that truth will become impossible to ignore. Relationships are often misunderstood as networking, as something strategic or transactional. Exchange a business card, send a message, ask for a favor. But real relationships do not operate on convenience. They operate on trust. And trust is not built in moments, it is built over time. It is built through consistency, honesty, and genuine care. In a world obsessed with speed, relationships demand patience. Trust grows when actions align with words, when people know they can rely on you, when you show up not just when it benefits you, but when it matters to them. These moments are rarely public. They are quiet, often unnoticed, but they accumulate. Over time, they form a foundation strong enough to support opportunity. The strongest opportunities in life rarely come from cold applications or perfect resumes. They come from people who believe in you, people who have seen how you work, how you treat others, how you handle pressure. Belief is powerful because it opens doors that credentials cannot. Someone who trusts you will take a chance on you when no system would. In the future, connection will matter more than credentials because credentials show what you know, but relationships show who you are. Skills can be taught. Experience can be gained. Character is revealed over time. People want to work with those they trust. not just those who are qualified. Trust reduces risk, and in uncertain times, reducing risk becomes a priority. Building meaningful relationships requires presence. Real presence, not multitasking, not half listening. Being present signals respect. It tells the other person that they matter. In a distracted world, attention becomes a rare and valuable gift. Those who give it generously build deeper connections. Meaningful relationships also require vulnerability, not oversharing, but honesty, the courage to admit you don't know everything, the humility to ask for help. Vulnerability builds authenticity, and authenticity builds trust. When people feel safe to be themselves around you, connection deepens. Relationships thrive on reciprocity, but not in a calculated way. It is not about keeping score. It is about generosity without immediate expectation. Supporting others without asking what you will gain over time. This approach creates a network rooted in goodwill rather than obligation. And goodwill lasts longer than favors. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for connection. When you listen without interrupting, without judging, without trying to fix, you create space for understanding. People remember how you made them feel, and feeling heard is deeply human. In the future, as interactions become more digital and less personal, those who listen well will stand out. Meaningful relationships also involve boundaries. Trust does not mean unlimited access. Healthy connections respect time, energy, and values. Boundaries protect relationships from resentment. They create clarity. When expectations are clear, misunderstandings decrease and respect increases. Conflict is inevitable in any relationship. Avoiding it weakens trust. Addressing it with honesty and empathy strengthens it. How you handle disagreement reveals your character. Calm communication, willingness to understand, and respect during conflict